Welcome to the Jikook Lover channel. Before we dive any deeper, make sure you hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe right now because this content might just change the way you see everything. The question is simple, yet deeply unsettling. Is the chemistry between Jimin and Jungkook merely a coincidence, or is it something far deeper than we've ever imagined? There's no warning, no signal. And that is precisely where it all began. In an entertainment industry obsessed with planning, scripts, and control down to the smallest detail, there is one thing that continues to escape everyone's grasp: the natural chemistry between Jimin and Jungkook. A connection never officially announced, never openly promoted, yet somehow it consistently becomes the center of global attention. Every time they share the same space, something shifts. The atmosphere grows warmer, the cameras seem to find their own magnet, and viewers, whether devoted fans or casual onlookers, feel as though they are witnessing something far beyond a simple interaction between two group members. This phenomenon is not new, but it is its consistency that has forced the world to ask questions. Why, after years, after hundreds of stages, thousands of hours of practice, and countless public appearances, does Jikook's togetherness still feel different? Why can a brief glance ignite thousands of theories? Why can a small smile send global timelines into chaos within minutes? In K-pop, chemistry is often manufactured. But this feels alive, natural, effortless. Jimin and Jungkook never appear to be trying to draw attention when they are together, yet attention inevitably follows them. From the way Jungkook instinctively turns toward Jimin when he laughs, to how Jimin seems to know exactly when to step closer and when to give space. The movements are subtle, almost invisible, but that is precisely where their power lies. International entertainment observers have begun noticing the same pattern. On concert stages, during interviews and live streams, and even in behind-the-scenes moments never meant to be highlighted, cameras repeatedly capture interactions that defy simple explanation. Brief touch on the arm, a gaze that lingers a fraction of a second longer than expected, a smile that is not meant for the camera, but for the person standing beside them. What makes it all even more compelling is Jimin and Jungkook's own response, or lack of one. There are no clarifications, no denials, no lengthy explanations. They allow these moments to exist, to grow, and to be interpreted by the world. And in the digital age, ambiguity is the most powerful fuel of all. Global media outlets have begun referring to this phenomenon as one of the most authentic chemistries in the history of third-generation idol groups. Not because it is dramatic, not because it is scandalous, but because it feels honest, human. In an industry that demands perfection, Jikook offers something softer, more fragile, and precisely because of that, more real. Fans across the world have noticed the same thing. When Jimin and Jungkook are together, they seem more relaxed, more like themselves. Jungkook, known for his perfectionism, appears freer, more careless in his own way. Jimin, often seen as emotionally controlled, becomes more open, more spontaneous, as if their togetherness creates a safe space understood only by the two of them. And this is where the greatest mystery lies. Is this chemistry born from a long-standing friendship? From growing up together since such a young age? Or is there an emotional bond that formed long before the world's cameras ever focused on them? Some analysts suggest that emotional closeness like this cannot be fabricated. It is built through time, trust, and intense shared experiences. Years of carrying the same pressure, chasing the same dreams, and bearing the weight of global expectations can forge bonds that words fail to describe. And yet, not every pair within a group displays such a dynamic. Every time BTS appears as a complete unit, Jikook remains the unpredictable variable. Not because they seek attention, but because attention seems to seek them. Even when standing apart, even when not directly interacting, that energy is still present, like an invisible thread connecting them. Viral moments continue to surface. From massive stages to clips lasting only seconds, every interaction is analyzed, slowed down, zoomed in on, and dissected by fans worldwide. And yet, the more it is analyzed, the harder it becomes to reach a single, definitive conclusion. Because perhaps that is the key. Jikook's chemistry is not meant to be explained. It is meant to be felt. In an entertainment world that grows louder, faster, and increasingly sensational, Jimin and Jungkook's Togetherness offers something entirely different. Quiet intensity, emotional intimacy without noise. And maybe that is exactly why it is so impossible to ignore. And now, after everything we have seen, after every moment captured and uncaptured, one powerful question still hangs in the air, dividing the fandom, fueling endless debate, and keeping the world watching. Is the natural chemistry between Jimin and Jungkook merely a reflection of a rare and profound friendship, or are we actually witnessing a story far greater than anything ever officially revealed to the public? As the conversations grow louder online, the story of Jikook continues to evolve beyond isolated moments and viral clips. What once lived quietly between glances and shared laughter has now transformed into a cultural discussion that reaches far beyond the fandom itself. Social media platforms erupt each time a new interaction surfaces, not because it is shocking, but because it feels familiar, like witnessing a chapter of a story that has been unfolding for years without ever being formally narrated. What sets Jimin and Jungkook apart is not the absence of chaos, but the presence of balance. In moments of overwhelming noise, stadiums filled with tens of thousands of voices, flashing lights, and relentless schedules, they appear to anchor each other. Observers often point out how their body language subtly shifts when they are close. Shoulders relax. Expressions soften. It is as if, for a brief moment, the weight of the world lifts. Industry insiders rarely comment directly, but when they do, the language is careful. Words like synergy, comfort, and trust appear frequently. Yet even these feel insufficient. Because synergy implies intention, and what the world sees between Jimin and Jungkook often looks instinctive. A reaction rather than a plan. A feeling rather than a performance. This instinctive bond becomes even more evident offstage. Behind-the-scenes footage, meant only to document daily routines, repeatedly captures moments that fans describe as unfiltered. Jungkook quietly waiting for Jimin without explanation. Jimin instinctively reaching out when Jungkook seems overwhelmed. These moments are not announced, not framed dramatically, and not accompanied by music or editing tricks. And perhaps that is exactly why they resonate so deeply. In an era where authenticity is both demanded and doubted, Jikook sits in a rare space where belief comes naturally. Even skeptics, those who dismiss shipping culture entirely, often find themselves pausing, replaying clips, questioning their own assumptions. Not because they want to believe, but because the evidence refuses to be ignored. The psychological aspect of this phenomenon has also drawn attention. Experts in group dynamics note that individuals who experience formative years together under extreme pressure often develop bonds that resemble familial or lifelong partnerships. When success, failure, criticism, and praise are shared equally, emotional connections deepen in ways that outsiders struggle to comprehend. In this context, Jimin and Jungkook's closeness becomes less mysterious, and yet somehow even more compelling. Still, explanations do little to extinguish curiosity. Because beyond logic, there is emotion. And emotion does not ask for proof. It demands recognition. Fans feel something when they watch Jikook together. A sense of warmth, of sincerity, of something unfolding naturally, without force. The global reach of this narrative is undeniable. From Asia to Europe, from the Americas to the Middle East, discussions about Jikook transcend language barriers. Articles are translated. Videos are subtitled. Reactions are recorded. What began as a shared affection within a fandom has grown into a worldwide conversation about connection, vulnerability, and emotional truth in modern celebrity culture. And yet, despite the intensity of public interest, Jimin and Jungkook remain unchanged in their approach. They continue to exist as they always have, side by side when needed, independent when required. They do not feed the narrative, nor do they attempt to erase it. They simply move forward, allowing the world to interpret what it sees. Perhaps that quiet confidence is what fuels the fascination most. In an industry often driven by statements and strategies, silence becomes powerful. Ambiguity becomes meaningful. The absence of explanation invites endless interpretation, and each interpretation adds another layer to the story. As BTS navigates its evolving chapter, individual paths and group moments intertwine in complex ways. Yet whenever Jimin and Jungkook cross those paths together, attention sharpens. Cameras linger. Fans lean closer. Because history has taught them that something worth noticing is about to happen. The chemistry that once felt like a whisper now echoes loudly across global platforms. And still, it resists definition. It does not fit neatly into labels or narratives designed by outsiders. It remains fluid, evolving, and deeply personal. In the end, perhaps the reason Jikook's chemistry is so difficult to ignore is not because it demands attention, but because it reflects something universally human. The desire to be seen without explanation, to be understood without words, to find, amid chaos, one presence that feels like home. And so the story continues, unresolved yet endlessly compelling. With every shared glance, every subtle gesture, and every quiet moment captured between stages and spotlights, the world watches and wonders. Because the final question remains, stronger than ever, echoing across timelines and comment sections, dividing opinions and igniting debates that refuse to fade. Are we simply witnessing an extraordinary bond born from years of trust and shared dreams? Or is this, in fact, a once-in-a-generation connection that history will one day look back on and ask, how do we not see it sooner?